This week's What to See with Sarah G, as Adam said, we are exploring Savannah, Georgia. It's actually one of my favorite weekend trips, especially when I lived in Florida. It was about a 4 hour drive from Orlando. So it's quick. If you're flying in from when I was in Nashville or anywhere else on the East Coast, it's a really quick city to get to. And it just feels really romantic when you're in Savannah, just the manicured parks, the horse-drawn carriages, the cobblestone squares. I actually considered living here myself, but it's a little too small for me to live here long term. But I think, like I said, it's the perfect getaway. Some interesting facts about the city. It was one of the first planned cities in the United States with the help of James Oglethorpe. You'll notice that the city is actually laid out in a grid system with really wide streets and 22 squares located within the grid. And from that grid system, a lot of locals talk about, because of it, Savannah has actually been able to avoid a lot of destruction from hurricanes just from the layout, the positioning of the city, because it's probably 20 minutes from Tybee Island and the beach area there. So definitely in the path of some hurricanes, but just fun fact there. And unfortunately, it is located in the South, and there are statues erected by the Daughters of the Confederacy that still exist today. The most notable is the Civil War monument that displays a Confederate soldier at the top. So just things to know before you visit Savannah. Don't let those things stop you, though. Let's talk about where to stay. I think if you're picking anywhere in Savannah, they're all going to be pretty solid accommodations. I've stayed downtown in hotels. I've also stayed at Airbnbs. They're pretty similar experiences. Of the hotels, though, the Kessler Collection Hotel Company has a great property called the Mansion at Forsyth Park, which, you guessed it, is right next to the notable park that you have to visit when you're in town. And the upscale design of the property and the clawfoot tubs are definitely benefits to the room, and it's just a little fancy. If you're wanting to stay around the Riverwalk area, which is surrounded by bars and restaurants and a little bit more foot traffic, the Hyatt Regency or the Bohemian Hotel are great options. Now, have your hotel stay, that's great. Let's talk about things to do. One of the most popular things I really like is that you can hop on and off of their trolleys, and this just kind of helps you get a better lay of the land, get some history, and just see what you like or what you don't like. This is something that Roy hates to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
You like trolley tours?
Can you ever see me on a fucking trolley tour? Like, I'm sorry. Like, Roy, I'm with Roy on this. Like, I don't understand the point of them, but yeah, that sounds terrible.
I think they're fun. You can get something out of it. You don't have to walk everywhere, especially if you go in the summertime when it's hot and you want to go from place to place. You don't have to walk through everything. You could just hop on the trolley and hop off. And if you're into ghost tours, they also have a ghost trolley tour too. So you can check out the haunted areas of the city, or, instead of walking through all the cemeteries at night, you can just hop on and off if you get too scared,
Yeah,
maybe.
I know.
No,
I've
not for you.
I've been to the cemeteries, but yes, I'm never doing a trolley tour in my life.
Okay. Well, I had to bring it up because it is a popular thing and I think it's fun. Um, as far as places to eat, Gryphon, I think it's called Gryphon. I always fuck it up every time I go there. Griffin? Maybe it's Griffin.
Probably Griffin, but it might be. Who knows?
I'm not sure. It's right next to SCAD, and it's my favorite place to eat in Savannah. The building itself used to be an old pharmacy, and inside is filled with wooden bookshelves, stained glass, and an upscale seating environment. I took my mom and my brother here for brunch and tea time, and we both had separately, and we both had an absolute blast. So make a reservation if you don't want to wait and you want to make a visit there. Tea time is extremely popular, and it's the perfect environment for tea. And they serve your check in a little book too. I know that other places do that, but I was impressed by that. The first time I was like, oh, my check's in a book. Another great food option is the Collins Quarter. It's a pretty popular spot, but for good reason. You can visit here for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and they have 2 locations in the city. And then if you're wanting to hit up the bar scene, be sure to visit Abe's on Lincoln. It definitely has a divey feel, so I think Adam will really like it here. But why it gets the name Abe's on Lincoln, well, it's on Lincoln, but there's a bunch of hand-drawn pictures of Abraham Lincoln pinned up all over the bar. You just grab a cocktail napkin and get to drawing Honest Abe, and your artwork will be displayed on the bar. That's kind of cool. And then outside of bars, for me, because I know Adam has some recommendations, you can honestly spend hours walking or biking around the squares of Savannah, which I highly recommend. While you're wandering, be sure to check out the Cathedral of John the Baptist. It's the oldest Roman Catholic church in the city. And while services aren't going on, you can take a step inside to view the beautiful stained glass windows, bronze columns, and archways. It's actually, for me, I was like stunned when I saw it there. It kind of, I've never been to New Orleans, but I feel like it's kind of similar to just like the size of the big
Hmm.
church in New
Yeah,
Orleans. I'm
could be.
probably wrong, but I don't know. I was just really impressed by how high the arches were and how regal it felt. So check that out. And not too far from that church is actually Forsyth Park, which I mentioned earlier. I also know this is like the engagement spot if you want to go to Forsyth Park and then propose in front of the fountain. I don't know if that's on your to-do list, Adam. So there's an engagement idea there, but of course, if you're not there to propose to anyone, on any given day, you can sit down at the benches, find local art vendors filling the sidewalks and local artists, and just rest your feet and enjoy the fountain. It's a and then the fountain during St. Patrick's Day. I know we just passed St. Patrick's Day, but Savannah actually turns all of the fountains green, which is another cool thing. So if you're there during that time of year, you can see the green fountain. And then down by the Riverwalk, be sure to visit Savannah Bee Company. This shop offers fun products made from local honey, but in the corner of the store, you can taste some of their meads for around $10 a tasting, or at least that's what it was when I visited. But those are some of my favorite places to visit in Savannah, Georgia.
And it was pretty great. Been there a few times. Once with a girlfriend, and then a couple times with doing comedy, and then once with a friend during the pandemic. During the middle of the pandemic, we decided we had to get out of town, and we went there. And so not everywhere was open, but there was a great bar there that we did comedy called Chuck's, and it was fantastic. And I used to do comedy there all the time, and really loved it. But then they closed, unfortunately, and that was very sad. A couple places to stay. I would say Hotel Indigo. I stayed there, right in the heart of downtown. It's like really easy to get wherever you want to go, just within walking distance. And that's my walking distance, not Sarah's version of walking distance. It's very different. And I was comfortable walking wherever I wanted to go. And then the hotel was nice. But then I also stayed at the Hyatt right on the Riverwalk, which was incredible because Riverwalk was great for just the restaurants. There's a place called Huey's, I think, that has really good food, and then a little pricier but good. But like drinks wise, we went to, I remember, like Bernie's Oyster House, went to the Bayou Cafe, Warehouse Bar and Grill, which I'm pretty sure was going into renovations, and then a place called the Jinx, which is a music venue. And we were there
Oh,
during their last couple days of opening, and then they're reopening a new venue, but you should check that out. And then there's the old Pink House, which is probably one of the more famous restaurants in Savannah. I would say you have to make reservations to eat there. It is definitely kind of a higher scale, a little bit higher price, and but it's really good food, fantastic food. And I don't even remember what I ate, but I loved it. And I remember our set when I was there drinking during the pandemic. Our first night we were out till 4 in the morning, and then we got up around like noon, like we need something. So we were looking for somewhere. We found this place called Molly McPherson's, which is like a Scottish bar or Irish bar. We go in there to have a drink, and then they had a food menu, and they had these Scotch eggs that were like the best Scotch eggs I've ever had in my entire life. And I will remember that. Like
what's
I
a
want to go.
Scotch egg?
You don't know what a Scotch egg is?
No,
It's like you take an egg and you I think they poach it, and then they deep fry it, and then they usually deep fry it like 2 or 3 times.
deep fried.
So it's like, yeah, so you cut it open, and it's like it's got egg and breading, and the breading is like usually really flavorful. So yeah, Scotch eggs are incredible, but this one, like, they made the best Scotch eggs we've ever had, and it saved us so that we were able to keep drinking all day. So for
Of
day two,
course,
so that
yeah.
was good. And it was good for the cured our hangovers, and it was fantastic. And yeah, and there's lots of cool little cemeteries and that I went through and took a lot of photos in, lots of cool parks as well. But I really like the Riverwalk because Riverwalk, you can just go up and down. There's bars and restaurants. There's a lot of touristy shit, like like the fake
Hmm.
touristy crap, like almost like Daytona Beach has, where like it's like every place that has the same mass manufactured like trinkets and things like that. But within there's some really cool little shops too. And I remember there's like a 2-story bookstore that's right off the Riverwalk that's really neat. That's just packed full of used books. So if you like secondhand books, you should check that out as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a perfect little weekend getaway, especially if you already live on the East Coast of the US.
And if you've been there before and you're looking for more to do, Charleston's only like an hour away, and so you can actually go to Charleston while you're in Savannah, which is what I did one week at, and then go to go spend a little bit of time in Charleston, have lunch, and then come back to Savannah too. So like it's nice. You can kind of visit two cool towns in one.